Good evening. Welcome to the program produced by the Agency for Public Information. I'm your host, Kathy Rose. This evening, we'll present to you an excerpt from the media brief held by Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves earlier this week. Dr. Gonsalves is requesting clarification from the European Union Commission on the matter of this country being deemed a tax haven. We also have a report on the distribution of offer letters to people in the constituency of North Leeward to purchase state lands which they have been occupying. We'll have more details after the news.
Good evening and thank you very much for joining us for Newswatch. I'm Ashisi Assam. The National Emergency Management Organization NEMO wishes to confirm that an earthquake occurred this morning and was felt by persons on mainland St. Vincent. According to the Seismic Research Center of the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine, Trinidad, at 7:01 a.m., an earthquake was generated at 125 kilometers northeast of Barbados at a depth of 10 kilometers. It measured 5.7 on the magnitude scale. The earthquake was reported felt in various places on St. Vincent, in Barbados, and in St. Lucia. There was no threat of a tsunami from this tremor. NEMO has not received any report of damage from the earthquake. The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, in partnership with Emera Caribbean Inc. and Reykjavik Geothermal, recognizing the potential for the development of geothermal energy, is advancing plans for the development of a 10 to 15 megawatt power plant in the vicinity of La Soufrière volcano, in the north of the island. The project is now about to enter the next phase. Preliminary assessments undertaken by Reykjavik Geothermal indicate that the ingredients to host a geothermal reservoir to support a power generation plant are favorable. Subsequent field visit confirmed two preferred sites in the general area to west of the Orange Hill community. This next phase involves planning and development of required infrastructure such as roads and drilling of the exploratory and production wells. Once successful, the project will then enter the final phase of design, construction of the general plant. Several stakeholder sessions have been planned, including community engagements for the constituents in the vicinity of La Soufrière during the week of July 15 to 19. Emera Caribbean, Reykjavik Geothermal, and the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines will develop and present for approval a plan to mitigate any environmental impacts related to the geothermal development. This will be done before any production wells are drilled and before a generating facility is built. Reykjavik Geothermal has extensive experience in geothermal energy, including research assessment and development. Emera Caribbean and its parent company, Emera Inc. of Nova Scotia, Canada, have significant utility sector experience, including substantial experience in financing major capital projects. Under the terms with the government, commercial operation of the power plant is targeted for 2018. The Clinton Foundation, under a signed MOU, is and providing legal, financial, negotiation and strategy support to the government to ensure agreements are fair and reasonable for all parties. The Ministry of Agriculture, in collaboration with the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, conducted a training workshop on integrated livelihood baselines and damage and loss assessment for climate risk management in agriculture. The workshop is an ongoing program of assistance which the FAO is providing to the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines to build resilience to climate change to improve risk management in the agriculture sector. The objective of the training workshop is to improve the methodology for the existing damage and loss assessment, which is often applied after a disaster would have occurred, as well as to provide information on climate-smart technologies and sustainable land management techniques. FAO's Natural Resource Officer with Climate, Energy and Tenure Division in Rome, Selvaraj Ramaswamy, facilitated the workshop. The workshop was held on July 15 to 16 at the National Insurance Services Training Room. And finally, on this evening's edition of Newswatch, WFM Radio, in collaboration with Digicel, is holding its second Youth Summer Reading Challenge this year. The challenge, now called the WFM Digicel Youth Summer Reading Challenge, is open to young people ages 13 to 15. It seeks to build more confident readers by exposing them to training in fluency, confidence, voice, and diction. The finalists of the challenge will all compete by reading the news live on air on WFM 99.9 in August. Registration is currently open and interested parents and guardians can obtain forms at WFM's Kingstown or Kittel's office. The deadline for submitting completed registration forms is Tuesday, July 28, 2015. Applicants are asked to submit a short essay along with their registration forms on a given topic, which will be judged to select 10 semi-finalists. These 10 will be recorded reading 30 seconds of any appropriate material, which will be judged to select the 5 finalists. The 5 finalists will then be called in for 1 week of broadcast training at WFM's studios in Kittel's from August 10th to 14th, 2015. They will then compete by reading the 12:15 p.m. and 3 p.m. newscast on WFM on Monday, August 17, 2015. The best reader, as so decided by the judges, will emerge as the overall winner of the challenge. The finalists will receive prizes, compliments, Digicel. And here's where we end Newswatch for this evening. I am Ishisi Assam. Do stay with us. Our presentation continues.
An earthquake can happen at any time. Be aware. Drop, cover, hold on. Crouch and cover your head with your arms. Hold firm in an internal doorway. Avoid running outside or using stairs. Stay away from elevators and move away from outer walls, glass windows, and hanging objects. Remember, when the earth quakes, do the DCH. Drop, cover, hold on. Now, are you ready?
Yes! We're ready! Visit weready.org, brought to you by SEDIMA and the European Union.
A message from the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO.
Welcome back. Prime Minister Dr. Alfin Saus considers it unfair for this country to be placed on the European Union Commission's blacklist as a tax haven. Speaking at a media brief held earlier this week at Cabinet Room, Dr. Gonçalves said he had since written to the European Commission requesting that a detailed explanation be given on the matter.
Let's address the matter of tax haven. As you know, there are several countries in the European Union. The countries being Bulgaria, Croatia, Estonia, Greece, Italy, Latvia, Lithuania, Portugal, Poland, Slovenia, and Spain. They have named St. Vincent and the Grenadines as a non-cooperative jurisdiction in relation to tax matters. Apparently, under the rules, is that if once you have 10 states so doing it, the name of the country appears on a list, and that's why they had so many countries in the Caribbean. The St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados, Grenada, Dominica, Antigua, St. Kitts, Nevis, several Bahamas. Now, from the very beginning, we objected to this list. First of all, I don't like the word blacklist, because of all kinds of connotations. But a list of non-cooperative countries. But it looks as though in these countries the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. And the European Union, the European Commission, which is the executive body of the European Union, they are not the recognized authority globally to address the issue of non-cooperative jurisdictions or tax transparency and issues of a tax haven and the like. The body is the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, the OECD, which are the rich countries in the world. It includes several of the European Union countries, at least most of them, and all the important ones certainly, all the larger ones, more powerful ones, and Canada and the United States and Japan, and so forth. And they have what is called a Global Forum, the OECD, on tax transparency. An exchange of information. It's called, the formal name is the OECD's Global Forum on Transparency and Exchange of Information for Tax Purposes. And we have been working with these countries, with the OECD. And we have been given a clean bill of health by them. And they, in fact, have said that we are not a tax haven. Same thing in relation to Barbados, for instance, and a few other countries in CARICOM. But there's this list which was put out, which was entirely out of order, and completely at variance with what the OECD has been saying and work which we have been doing with the OECD and the Global Forum. In fact, there are two peer reviews, peer review 1 and peer review 2. And we have gone through both peer reviews with flying colors. In fact, the last one, the second peer review, which designated us as largely compliant, which is the status which all the countries which are compliant get. There may be one minor box which you haven't ticked. That's why they say largely compliant. That's the language of the Global Forum. In fact, we decided very early that we're going to take a strong position against what this listing was about. And we got in touch with the Global Forum. I'm working very closely with Shada Bullas, who is the director of the Financial Services Authority. We work together in the OECS and CARICOM, and we ourselves also work directly with the European Union and with some individual countries on this matter to express our position and make our position absolutely clear. Now, Shada Bullas and my request had written the Global Forum. Both the head of the Global Forum Secretariat and the director of the CTPA in relation to this matter. And this is what they wrote and had this letter circulated. So it's to Shada Bullas, because this is our complaint. Dear Shada, they wrote, we are happy to clarify below the status of St. Vincent and Grenadines. with regard to its compliance with the Global Forum standards on transparency and exchange of information. This is July the 1st. St. Vincent and the Grenadines committed to the principles of transparency and exchange of information in 2002 and became a member of the restructured Global Forum in 2009. You remember there was a general blacklisting of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And this government set about to put everything in order. As an active member, it, meaning St. Vincent and the Grenadines, has demonstrated a continued commitment to cooperation with the international community and implementation of the international standards. This is evident by its successful Phase 1 peer review in 2012 and the fact that its Phase 2 peer review report, which was published in October 2014, concluded that St. Vincent and the Grenadines has an overall rating of quote-unquote largely compliant with the standard of exchange of information on request. In 2014, St. Vincent and the Grenadines reiterated its resolve to uphold the highest standards of transparency and exchange of information by making a commitment to implement the new global standard of automatic exchange of financial account information, with first exchanges started by 2018. By making this commitment, St. Vincent and the Grenadines stands with 94 other countries and jurisdictions who have made a similar commitment to take tax transparency to the next level and implement the new standard with exchanges starting either by 2017 or 2018. I may add that we are pleased with your support in coordinating efforts to ensure that the implementation of the new standard in your region is well organized, and we look forward to continuing this close and cooperative relationship. As already indicated, the OECD and the Global Forum Secretariat are ready to talk directly to the media on this, so please do not hesitate to direct any such queries to us. Do also let us know how we can be of further assistance. We are not a tax haven, simply put. But these countries, I don't want to throw words at several of these countries which listed us, and other countries in Europe who are not complying with the standards we are complying with. All I'm saying is what we are doing. And this was unfair and unjust. And I wrote a letter on July the 8th to Pierre Moscovici, who is the commissioner in the European Commission dealing with this matter. And I explained everything to him. And asking him to send detailed explanation from the European Commission on this matter. And we look forward to the removal from the present European Union Commission blacklisting. And I sent a copy of this letter to Jean-Claude Juncker, who is the President of the European Commission, and Ms. Valérie Moutardier, who is the Director of the European Commission. And the outgoing chairman wrote a letter of CARICOM, wrote a letter to Mr. Juncker, who is the President of the European Commission, that is to say the Prime Minister of the Bahamas. And I wrote Prime Minister Stewart, who is the current chairman, also wrote him after I came back from CARICOM, asking him to send a letter to them also on this matter. See, these letters, these people do these things, and you're a small country, they smear you for absolutely no reason whatsoever, and then you have reputational damage you have to correct. It's like somebody make a false accusation against you personally that you do something which you didn't do, and you have to spend the time to clear your name. I mean, it's just what they did was plain wrong. And as you notice, the European Union Commissioner, European Union Ambassador to the Barbados and the OECS countries had to write a letter clarifying. I think that letter was published in the region, and basically saying, look, this is not what it is. But he was trying to see if he can reduce the extent of any damage. And he was embarrassed, and they didn't like it. But under the rules, if 10 countries were to do so, your name comes up on this list. Now, to show you how the left hand doesn't even know what the right hand is doing, when I was in Brussels last month for the European Union Latin American Caribbean Summit, the Italian foreign minister had me in a bilateral meeting. Among other things, he is lobbying me to get the support of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and to the extent to which we can help them in the Caribbean. Because we have 14 votes in the UN on a matter where Italy is one of 3 countries from Western Europe and others, that category, to be members, non-permanent members of the Security Council, and there are 3 countries which are up. Sweden, Holland, and Italy, and only two can be elected. None of this issue was raised. So, when in Barbados, diplomatic personnel and people from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Italy, including a vice minister, on the margins of CARICOM, came to lobby me again, I asked them to explain to me how Italy could say we are a tax haven when we are not, and want my support. Of course, they apologized for it, and it was a misunderstanding. I say, well, if that is the case, you all publish a statement saying that. Now, the world of international diplomacy is a complicated business. In our assessment as to how we are voting, I'm not unmindful that we have Italian investors in our country. I had negotiated with the Italian authorities, and I had gotten debt relief of close to $180 million EC at Otley Hall. There are several matters on which we have cooperated. So this is one of the downsides, but there are some upsides. I'm not telling you who the two we're going to vote for and who we are pushing. But I tell you what I told them. But I know of the multiplicity of the relationships which we all have, and I have always, as you know, to approach matters in a mature way and don't allow where I may be slighted in one respect to completely blind me from other things, because I have to look at a total picture, and I'm not in a perfect world. I don't want anybody to say, well, it sounds as though you still might give Italy your vote. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that in this complicated world, I balance all sorts of factors and circumstances. Okay? And I wouldn't say publicly in any case who we supporting, which of the two we supporting, until the circumstances become propitious for me so to do, or the foreign minister. Now, there's one matter which I just want to tidy up on this tax haven issue. You know, we have some people in this country, including the parliamentary opposition. I don't know when they're going to learn. As soon as they heard St. Vincent and the Grenadines is blacklisted by the European Union, these 10 countries, they didn't wait for anything. They said, you see, they said they had gotten rid of the blacklist. Look at what's happening here. It's so damaging to the country. You see why we need to have a change? They don't even, and the internet crazies went further crazy. It doesn't matter what is the truth. As soon as they hear something which they believe sounds bad about St. Vincent and the Grenadines, they want to give it the headlines with a lot of unpatriotic drivel. I repeat it, unpatriotic drivel. Because they apparently can be unpatriotic and say the worst about the country. But I, who am Prime Minister, can't denounce them for saying it. I must be silent. Well, I take my cue in this regard from Paul, servant of the Lord called to be an apostle. I talk when I want to talk about certain things which are offensive, and not talk about some, depending on all the circumstances. In other words, have a mature disposition in it. But I was amazed for all the work which we have been doing, and where we, OECD and the Global Forum, had said St. Vincent and the Grenadines is not a tax haven. But all you have to do is to get some adverse report, whatever it is on, and the opposition get on the high horse, either by themselves or driven by the internet crazies. That's what is happening. And anytime, I just want to sensitize the people of the country as to how some people behave in relation to their own country. I know they will tell me that I can't give lectures on patriotism to anybody. And that's not what I'm doing. But the public must be very mindful that there are some people who come from our own country who always wish the worst for their own country. And they wish the worst for one purpose only: get rid of Ralph. So that whatever the damage done to the country, it's of no consequence if you help get rid of Ralph or make it more difficult for Ralph to get back. That's their preoccupations. And I think the country now understands this.
That was Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves addressing the media earlier this week on the issue of this country being placed on the European Union Commission's blacklist as a tax haven. You're viewing a program produced by the Agency for Public Information. After the break, offer letters handed out to some residents of North Leeward. Don't go away, we'll be right back.
In case of an earthquake and the place that's shaking, drop, cover, and hold on. Drop, cover, and hold on. In case of an earthquake,
there's a few tips that can keep you from harm. In case of an earthquake, you gotta stay calm. Move away from doors, windows, and things that can fall. Try not to use steps or elevators at all.
drop, protect your head and your face. Don't go running all over the place. Cover, under a bed or a table, against a wall that's firm and stable.
Hold on,
you must hold on, don't panic, stay calm.
Don't move until the shaking stops.
Here it is.
Drop, cover, and hold on.
Drop, cover, and hold on. In case of an earthquake.
Drop, cover, and hold on.
A message from the National Emergency Management Organization NEMO and the API.
Learn how to protect yourself during an earthquake. Log on to weready.org. That's weready.org for more information.
A number of residents of Chateaubelair, Fitzhughes and Spring Village last week received offer letters from the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, giving them the right to purchase land in these communities. The official handing over ceremony was held at Spring Village on June 11. Here is more in the following report.
The 15 constituencies in St. Vincent and the Grenadines are North Leeward, Central Leeward, South Leeward, East Kensington, West St. John, East St. John, Maniaqua, South Central Windward, South Windward, North Windward, North Central Windward, Northern Grenadines, and Southern Grenadines.
The lives of many Vincentians are being transformed through this government's revolutionary housing program. This program offers Vincentians the opportunity to own lands and houses at an affordable cost, ultimately allowing those interested to secure title deeds to lands and formalizing their settlement. Last Friday, July 10, 46 residents ranging from Chateaubelair, Fitzhughes, Kakata and Spring Village were present at the Spring Village playing field to receive offer letters from the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines to purchase lands at 10 cents per square foot.
Because if you don't have a roof over your head, what the scriptures is telling us, the fox got the hole and the birds got the nest. Where is yours? Huh? So it's a human right. And it is the business of the government, this government, to facilitate the people of this country to have quality housing at affordable prices. And it is shown that between 2001 and 2012, the housing stock in this country went up by over 1/4. By over 25%. In America, the housing stock fell in that period.
Turning debt capital into life capital is the term used to describe this life-changing step. And Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, in his address, noted that empowering Vincentians is the primary focus of his administration, and vows that the housing program will continue over the next 5 years under his administration.
We are making sure that land on which you occupied for years, you are now getting your legal title to those lands. I'll tell you this, and you're getting it at 10 cents a square foot. But the value of those lands, if you were to sell them, is more like $5 a square foot. You know that we have distributed over the time since we're in government over 4,000 housing lots. Gomery, Daniel told me it's 4,107. But let us do the math with only 4,000 to see the value. 4,000 lots. Each lot, on an average, is about 3,750 square feet. 50 by 75. Some more, some a little less. If you multiply 4,000 lots by 3,750, you get 15 million square feet of land. And if you put the value of at least $4, the real value, $4 a square foot, you're talking about $60 million worth of land which this government would have distributed. You hear it? You hear what I'm saying? I want it soaking. And it's happening all over the country. This government has distributed more housing lots than any government ever. In fact, we have distributed more housing lots than all the governments put together. And then we have built, as Gomery told you, 1,300 low-income houses. But he hasn't told you about the roughly 200 which we have built because of the storms. So put it at 1,500. If you have those 1,500 houses and you value them, the house and the land, conservatively at $60,000 per house, that is $90 million. You see, you're already reaching between the distribution of the land in terms of the value and the houses built, $150 million. You hear me? And they want to ask, what happening in St. Vincent? Well, what's the land distribution with the lots and what's the housing program? And then they left a mess at Gibson Corner. I had to spend nearly $15 million to sort that out. Then we give out building materials since we have been in government in excess of $15 million. And we have more to give out. And then the Lives to Live program. You see, you gone over $180 million and climbing, going towards $200 million. You see the kind of value what is created inside of the hands of the ordinary people of this country. And if you put on top of that the 100% mortgages for public servants, you will see the additions further by another 1,500 to the housing stock. Civil servants before used to only start to build their houses when they're 45 years because they couldn't, I'm saying to you, they couldn't get the deposit, the 20% deposit, because the salaries were small. And after people retire, they're still paying for their house. Not anymore. Young people in their 20s are getting mortgages. Public servants, teachers, nurses, doctors, policemen and women. And I say to the rest of you who haven't gotten yet, you are sure that you will see a continuation of this program under the Unity Labour Party over the next 5 years. But you can equally be certain that the opposition will do nothing like this because they do not consider housing to be a human right. And they have never had any such program. And when they distributed any lands, the few they did, they charged people $3.50, $4 a square foot. We charge 10 cents, 50 cents a dollar. And we have given back money in the cases at Glen and Otley Hall because we consider that the NDP government had overcharged people for those lands. I notice that Spring Village is listening to me carefully. You could hardly hear a pin drop here tonight, this evening, because the facts are soaking in. They're soaking in. The facts are soaking in, and you're saying these things are happening before our very eyes. And we didn't think it out like this. And then, once you have housing, we have to build the roads, which we have been doing, and the drains, and the back walls. Sporting facilities, which we have been doing. provision of water and electricity before we came to office. Only 60-something% of the people had pipe-borne water in their homes. Now you have 97, 98%. Same thing with electricity. Before we came to office, half of the people had only less than half of the people had flush toilet. Now you have 75% of the people in flush toilet. And bit by bit, we're moving away from pit toilet. Bit by bit. That is what is taking place. All these are real developments before your very eyes. We are seeing now what is happening to the Cumberland playing field. And the work is going along very fast. And I'm hoping that before the end of this year, well, the physical structure will be complete. We'll hope that the playing field itself will be in order for the young people of Spring Village and Charles Village and the other places around to go there to play and to enjoy cricket, football and other sports. Yes, and netball and basketball. And now, it is this government which purchased the land, and this government which has set in motion the carrying out of this particular facility.
The Prime Minister also disclosed that residents of Spring Village will soon have a brand new bridge as works will commence shortly.
Now, we have secured approval from the Mexican government for a grant of $5 million to do the bridge. It will start early in the new year because we're doing all the technical work now down at Mangaroo, the bridge down there. That bridge there is a Bailey bridge which has lasted its time, and we are going to do when that bridge is built by the Mexican government, it will be the longest one in the country. The one which is the longest at the moment is what the Ecuadorians built at Hope. This one will be longer. And when we start that, I want you in Spring Village to know you'll have to drive down. If you're going down, you'll have to just drive down to Charles Village. We are putting a Bailey bridge just below, on the river just below Vinlek. And we're widening the concrete road for 2 lanes. So while the bridge is being built, you go down and you come up and you come back up. And I just ask for your understanding and your patience in that one. Believe me, I already have the money. I sign all the agreements and everything. Is the technical work which is being done now for this. And we are going to do river defenses too. Not just the bridge, but also river defenses to protect the homes both above the bridge and below the bridge. Now, when people come to you to ask you for their vote, your vote, you have to ask them, what are you going to do better than what Ralph and the ULP doing?
Emphasizing the importance of the housing program here, Minister of Housing, the Honorable Montgomery Daniel, pointed out that the hard work of the ministry must be recognized for the progress made in the housing program.
The government's policy of land distribution is an outstanding one that is ensuring dead capital becomes live. And so that the Ministry of Housing, through the Surveyors Department, has indeed been bringing tangible benefits to the recipients of this overall policy program of this government. I want to say to you that since I became minister of this ministry, the departments of this ministry has been working tremendously hard. The civil servants have been working to ensuring results of the policy position of this government. And so, through the Surveyors Department, they are the ones charged with the responsibility of ensuring that these number of lots becomes available to all of the recipients. They are responsible for ensuring that we regularize the squatter settlements, a nightmare that this administration met when we came to office in 2001. And so, the task has not been an easy one. But I want to say to you that since this government took office in 2001, the Surveyors Department would have been able, over the last 14 years, to regularize and to present to all of us, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, a grand total of 4,170 lots to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. For 14 years, 4,170 lots would have been made available to Vincentians. It means, therefore, that for every year, on average, approximately 300 lots were made available to Vincentians. Further, it means, therefore, for every single month, 25 lots are made available to Vincentians. And further, it means, therefore, that on average, approximately 1 lot is made available for every working week here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I'm saying, for the past 14 years, for the number of lots that the Surveyors Department has presented to the people of St. Vincent, on an average, they would have been doing at least 1 lot per day to make Vincentians happy in terms of owning their own land. And so, the Surveyors Department must be commended for the work they have been doing.
ULP caretaker of the North Leeward constituency, Carlos James, stressed that a revolution is sweeping the nation, not just in education and other areas of development, but that of housing.
We see the formalities for persons who would receive letters and who would later go on to receive their title deeds to lands which they have occupied over the years here in Spring Village, in Fitzhughes, and in Chateaubelair. You heard Gerald mentioning over 14 years ago and the developments that took place thereafter, the surveying and the demarcations that would ensure that persons here in Spring Village and in North Leeward would receive their lots, their piece of St. Vincent that they can call their own. It is important for us to understand how important it is that you occupy a piece of land that you can call your piece of land, that you can go to the bank, you can get a mortgage, or you can pass on that property through a deed of gift from generation to generation within families. But it is this administration, the Unity Labour Party government, that must be praised in ensuring that all of North Leeward are able to hold up a piece of paper that they call a title deed. And the persons, the recipients who would receive their lots today, are able to say, I finally have my own piece of land, or my parcel of land, or my property that belongs to me. What is more remarkable is that these lots are going to be available to you at 10 cents per square foot. You only pay 10 cents for every square foot of land that you occupy here in Spring Village, Fitzhughes, and in Chateaubelair. Some time ago I spoke about a revolution that is taking place in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. That revolution we have seen manifested in education. We have seen that revolution in other aspects of government policy. And also, more importantly, we are seeing that revolution here in housing and in the availability of lands and the distribution of lands to the landless throughout St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Today, 46 of you, over a dozen of you from Spring Village, and another dozen or so between Chateaubelair and Fitzhughes, you will also become a part of that revolution. That revolution that is manifested under the Unity Labour Party government in ensuring that poor people in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and in North Leeward benefit significantly by receiving their own lots and parcels of land.
As the work continues, and the mission of providing affordable housing to Vincentians transcend mindsets into a state of entitlement through ownership of lands. Having a stake in the land of the blessed is, of course, the Vincentian dream, a dream that is now easily realized through the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Reporting for the API, I am Sheridan Lewis.
That's all for this evening's program. Thank you so much for viewing, and remember you can join us every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 in the evening and on Saturdays at 5. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Do something relaxing, be good and be kind. Good night, I'm Kathy Rose.